Good Wednesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about all my cars and trucks and SUVs, the motorcycles, the camper, the dogs, the weather. Hey, if you want a sticker, Ice Age TV comments at gmail.com. Ice Age TV comments at gmail.com. I'll send you a sticker. Send me a picture of your vehicle or your car, truck, motorcycle, whatever it may be that excites you in life. Now, kind of don't get a little too crazy there, if you know what I mean. But wow, look at today, Wednesday. Heavy rains came in last night, and is this the remnants of Darby or Debbie or whatever the heck they're calling that hurricane, tropical storm? It came up the eastern seaboard and still is. And it's cooled down, but it's still really humid. So even though it's overcast, and I got to work outside today, which would be fun to be in the rain and get wet. Hopefully not. But as always, it's the abba-dabba-doo. Good morning to all those that subscribe and reach out and share their life stories with me as I share my life stories with you. And as always, it's always about a word of the day that we try to make into a conversation. That's what I'm going to do. Keep the morning conversations going. Got the electric truck plugged in. Just about forgot to plug it in. I drove that truck yesterday. Very interesting how it was supposed to go to service yesterday. I didn't have time for that. And the vehicle had these, the wrench tool and the dashboard, if something's wrong with it and blah, blah, blah. After I drove it throughout the day, that all went away. Thank goodness. See, heavy rains, I take my cover off for my drain because the rain's coming so hard, it doesn't drain fast enough, and the whole shop gets soaked. And then all my boxes with all my goodies will be wet, and the rug will be wet. So that's why I have that big old hole in the driveway there. And where's little Ginger? Ginger's still in the camper. She didn't quite get out because I stepped out in the camper this morning, and oh my goodness gracious. I want to get up some mornings, I get in here and kind of get things in order, get the day going, get the fans on, get some cooling. We swam in the pool till late last night. Had a great evening. And so what do we talk about and what do we share? And for Bob out of Melbourne, Florida, he shares some pictures of his really cool Mercedes C300, his Explorer ST, and his Harley Davidson Fat Boy. And so that was really nice of him. He actually showed putting stickers on the cars. And then Ron, another subscriber, he asked for some stickers, and he shared his love and passion for the cars he owns. And that was really cool. And he shared how his daughter calls his Toyota Tacoma the Stormtrooper. And so I did. Let me see if I can not share all my personal information with everybody and get my phone going to the other phone. Let me see if I can get the pictures for you that Bob said would be okay to share, that he put a sticker. I mean, I'm like, wow. I mean, I am just so blessed to have subscribers such as Bob, Ron, Don, Roger Fisher. I mean, Mitchell. I mean, I can just go through the list of names. Charles, the help desk, Vito. I mean, but see, so here's his collection of cars, and he's been so nice to share my channel by putting a sticker on his vehicle. And so he drives down the road. Look at that. I always wanted one of those. I came so close to getting one so many times. So here it is. So once again, I'm just sharing on how this is so nice of a subscriber to do this. And then we have also, I'm not going to show all the personal information here, Ron, he did the same thing. He put this on his Toyota Corolla and his Toyota Tacoma. And see, his daughter calls it the Stormtrooper. So for me, I'm just blessed because I have such nice subscribers. I'm just telling you, I'm like, wow. I mean, for me as an individual in life, I mean, it's an emotional thing for me as a person to think I started a YouTube channel. And I know I'm getting pretty rough up here. I know Brian K is like, you got to get trimmed up. It's the summer months. I'm just trying to have some fun with the summer months. And but for me as an individual, I mean, I just can't, words won't really, can't say the words that really can put the emotion into what I feel are such great people that have come through my channel. I mean, I've been blessed, and just cool people. And that to think that they will go out of their way to put a sticker on their car to share my channel to help it grow. I mean, wow. I mean, thank you so much. I mean, really, there's just no value you can put on friendships in life. And people know that. I mean, that's a challenge in the physical world we live in. We have such close family and friends. And if you ever lose one, boy, you know that feeling. So let's get to the lights, camera action going here. And Ginger's still in the camper. She's a character this morning. Come on, go and get there. And Kiefer's not even at the door. He's hunting down Ginger baby. So well, I left the door open. Oh, here she is. See there? That's funny. So now here's Kiefer. All right, so let's get this here opened up without Kiefer. No, don't go up there. I don't want you going up there. No. Okay, go on. No. Leave her alone. Jeez. You're just a rowdy boy. Troublemaker boy. So what do we talk about? Being it on Monday, it was a separations conversation. And then Tuesday, it was a label conversations. And then I thought to myself, I think a really strong word today will be the fight. Yeah, the fight conversation. And I just was thinking to myself last night on how, if you go back 4 years ago, there was such the fight. There was a fight in this country going on more than ever. I mean, I know everybody remembers the George Floyd thing that started the whole defund the police, the rioting in the streets. I mean, and this is all during the pandemic. The Black Lives Matter gathering. I mean, just incredible that 4 years ago, the summer of 2020, this country was truly in the streets fighting. Antifa, but yet that's all gone away. And what's going on? I mean, why was there such the hatred and the fighting between others? And just 4 years ago, and do you really feel that 4 years later that the individuals that were very upset with the policies of the sitting bodies has all gone away? Do you really feel that the people that were really just riled up like never before are now happy? They feel like they accomplished their fighting. I don't believe it. And what's interesting is, it's a different administration now for the last 4 years has been in power. And so you just have to scratch your head of why the fighting seems to have dissipated. But at the same time, what's sad is we're witnessing now the fighting overseas. So now this administration, you just kind of have to stop and scratch your head, because the powers to be that came into power came through the fights of our country, not seen in modern times. But yet now the sitting administration has us in two wars not seen in most recent times that are very contentious and very, it's very, I mean, as well as I do, this Iran-Israel thing could get into a total World War III possible war. I mean, I truly believe, I think many would agree on it. I think it's less of a chance of that, but at the same time, but here's the thing. So it's always about taking that word fight that I try to then relate with the cars and trucks and motorcycles, not sit here and turn into a Tucker Carlson or turn into the doomer gloomer guy that just talks all about the fight. If you look at the British and the American colonies back in the 1775, George Washington, if you look at this country fought for it, that's incredible. Did you know that George Washington was actually an admiral, or he was a high-ranking military official for the British, for the Indian-French War? Did you know that? Did you know that George Washington only came to our side because he got denied being a high-ranking officer in the military? And that's very intriguing to read about George Washington, being he was the key leader that took us into the Revolutionary War, and he stood his ground, and Benjamin Franklin helped us, dramatically through the ammunitions and monies from the French. But it's just ironic that here it is, George Washington was really a British man that would really have been fighting against us had he been giving a higher rank and order in the military for the British. Isn't that something? And then to think that in some ways the French-Indian War that he was fighting with the British, that the French in the end gave George Washington the monies and ammunitions to fight the British. Oh my gosh. Wow. So back to the fighting. Well, how can you say fighting for, how can you relate with that with this stuff? Well, I think a lot of people could agree that when you ride your motorcycle or you drive a car and you're going down the road and somebody's behind you tailgating you or somebody's in front of you and it just kind of starts stirring those emotions in you. I mean, who hasn't seen the video of the motorcyclist driving up next to their car and putting his foot out and kicking the guy's door? Or seen the motorcyclist get off the motorcycle at an intersection and get into it with a person in a car? Or vice versa. Or then in the car, how many times you drive down the road and you're just aggravated because you feel like the person in front of you or behind you creates that fighting feeling. What is it? What chemical reaction happens to us when we're behind the wheel of a car? And I would say it's more behind the wheel of a car than a motorcycle, because I think more people can relate with the cars here than the motorcycles. How happened to Mr. Sanchez? Boy, he's disappeared. How are you? I hope you're okay, Mr. Sanchez. I haven't heard your voice or even seen a comment in quite a while. I hope the Hood, Charles is okay as well. I haven't seen or heard from him here in a while either. And don't take it wrong, anybody out there, don't bring up their name that watches my channel, like the help desk. He reached out yesterday and said, hey, that was me that was talking about the difference of the Mustang Dark Horse versus the Mustang GT. And then he went into a little more great conversation where he reached out and he was like, that's me, but he got into more depth that he knows all about that car. And he just didn't go into great length, but he explained it really well on the differences of the car, track car, road car. And I thought that was pretty cool. So thank you very much for clarifying that yesterday and reaching out, participating in the channel. And so anyways, back to the emotions that you get in your car. I mean, who hasn't seen the person that starts, taking their anger and frustration out on their car because it doesn't start? Or who doesn't come out from maybe in the shopping center and you walk up to your car and you see somebody put a ding in the side of your car? And oh my gosh. And it's like instantly you react by wanting to go find that person, and then it turns into a confrontation, which then can very well turn into a fight. Who hasn't had the fight in a relationship on you want to buy something? I mean, that is huge. That is huge in relationships, marriage. Who hasn't had major blowouts? And I'm not saying everybody has, but my life, I've had that conversation. You don't think that's happened a few times? I mean, and then you go to like the motorcycles, and on the motorcycle end, I mean, you just know as well as I do, there's many men out there, and I'm sure there's women too, that want to buy a motorcycle, but the spouse, their partner, is like, absolutely not. And don't you think that kind of turns into an argument and a fight? Oh my gosh. You have no idea how many years my daughter was never allowed to ride on the back of any of these motorcycles. When I first bought my first Harley back in 2012, the first thing my wife said to me is, did you buy that for Julia to ride in the back of the bike? And I was like, no. First of all, she's very young. Secondly, I bought the bike for me. And my wife was like, if you ever put her on the back of that motorcycle, you have to get rid of it. So that was the first thing out of my wife's mouth upon giving me the blessing, which I did. I had to get her blessing to buy a motorcycle. I just felt that it's the old, you jinx yourself, if you get what I'm saying by that. And I just felt like, if my wife isn't on the page, we have a motorcycle, then that just isn't good energy. So I did get the blessing. Didn't happen overnight. I wanted a motorcycle back in 2004, street motorcycle, and the wife was like, absolutely not. We're getting ready to bring a child in this world, and I don't want her to come in this world without a father. So you're not getting a motorcycle. And I was like, yeah, I get it. It's raised. I got to take care of other things. So I've had to kick that to the curb for a good 8 years before the wife kind of came back round. It's like, okay, I'll let you get a motorcycle, which that was really cool of my wife to let me do that, because there's many stories, I'm sure, on my channel that a man or even a woman can say, yes, I want a motorcycle so bad, but my spouse just won't let me have one because they're concerned for the well-being and safety, and their fear is that you're going to kill yourself on a motorcycle. I mean, that's what usually these motorcycles radiate, is that you're going to die because if you come off the bike, yeah, you're fighting for your life if you have one. So for us, who hasn't had the fight over where you're going? Who doesn't know these stories in a relationship, especially before all this navigation came into play, where you and your friend, partner, whatever it may be, you're going to drive somewhere and you had a disagreement on how to get there. And then you would start arguing about, no, you take this road. No, you don't. You take that road. Does anybody have that story? And where then one of you has to look at the other and has to bow your head like, you know what? I was so wrong. You were so right. And that's the thing about fighting is, I tell people all the time, I think you have a really good relationship in life if you can fight with your best friend, you can fight with your wife or husband or your partner or whatever it may be, but you can make up. Because that's a relationship. That's what I feel so strongly is, if you've never had a fight between a relationship, then that isn't a relationship. Because in a relationship, you want to stand your ground with something that you believe so strongly on, and in the end, hopefully you guys can kind of come to agreement. You kind of meet middle of the road, and that's what I think to myself is, where are we today in today's society? Is what are we fighting for? What is the underlying message for the green agenda in the ice age? And as we know, the green agenda is fighting to save mankind and the world. That is the green agenda. That's what it's all about. But it's sacrificing other things and creating very expensive things for us that are fighting to keep the ice age. Because we believe that the ice age isn't the main reason that Mother Nature, Earth, and mankind is all changing in front of us as everybody thinks. There's a lot of variables, there's a lot of variables that play out. And so for us, ice age people, we're fighting to keep that engine noise, the exhaust note, and here you go. So breaking news, the Dodge Charger Daytona is right around the corner coming into the dealerships. And Dodge has done a teaser video where they have that created, what's it called? The Franzonic or something like that. It's a funky word that Dodge has created. It's the Franzonic, or I don't know. It's basically, it's speakers that have been built in underneath the car that radiate a V8 motor sound. And they have a video right now that came out on Instagram, and the video shows the brand new Dodge Daytona, Charger Daytona, two-door car, coming through a tunnel, and as it goes through the tunnel, it sounds just like a V8 car. So for Dodge to appeal to the motorhead, ice age people, they're going out of their way to create a fake engine noise in an electric vehicle. So that's happening as we speak. And so, I don't know. But the thing is with these electric vehicles, since I've owned the 2 Mustang Mach-E's, and I've now owned 3 Ford F-150 Lightning trucks, these things are wicked fast. So the EV vehicle, there's no doubt. The inertia, the thrill of just planting your your tuchus in the seat of that car, or in that whip, the whipple or the whiplash effect, it's real. It is real. But it's just, I think, the underlying connotation that you feel like you're now the green agenda person. That now you're caught up in thinking you have to buy an electric vehicle to save Mother Nature, Earth, and you're fighting with the crowd that you're so against, that you think is too radical in everything you want to do. Last night I just about forgot to plug in this charger. And one of the subscribers on the channel, every now and then he reaches out, don't forget to charge the truck. I'm like, right, don't forget to charge the truck. I may put Brian into Joe's old truck, as I'm trying to getting kind of used to what he can drive and what he can't. And I think I'm going to put him in that F-150 Lightning black truck. It really hasn't been driven much at all since Joe left, which is incredible. That now is like a year and a half ago. Wow, how time just goes by so quickly. So for us Ice Age people, the fight is we want to keep the Ice Age alive. But the fight in the big boardrooms at these major automotive manufacturers is the green agenda activists is there fighting to push that you have to get rid of these ICE vehicles because they're ruining the world and the fossil fuels. And so it's a fight. Right now, it's a fight of fossil fuel beliefs versus green agenda beliefs. But I think to myself, too, when I looked at the Kelsey Grammer last night was doing the Revolutionary War on Fox channel. I like watching that stuff. I'm sure other people get like that too, where Mike Rowe and Kelsey Grammer, they do these documentaries. And when you look at the Revolutionary War of this country, of where we really came from, and the sacrifices and the odds of what we had to fight and overcome, and what George Washington was able to pull off with Benjamin Franklin, Adams, Jefferson. I'm just trying to think of the key people that were involved in Boston at the time of the British Army and the British control of this country, and they wanted out of that relationship, and they wanted to be the freedoms of our country. And I was thinking to myself last night, wow, it kind of seems like to me that we are at the age of where we are, that you could look at the green agenda and the liberal Democratic Party in some ways as the British colony, the British reign, because it seems like they have such different views of wanting to stranglehold so many different policies to change the way our country was founded. And they're against so many things that it seems like we are the George Washington Revolutionary Guard over the British, which is the Democratic Party. It kind of sounds far-fetched, but if you really start to step back and look at what the Democratic Party really stands for more than ever, and it's about control. It's more than ever in our modern times, and it's been going on for years, the government having opposing views of the different parties. But I think more than ever, we feel like this Democratic Party is overreaching by leaps and bounds, and it goes right into the green agenda. If those people out there on my channel, they kind of hate to hear the political side of it, and I understand that, but at the same time, we are at the highest level of green agenda and enforcement ever. And everything's become so expensive. And the underlying message is that really, I mean, politicians talk out of both sides of their mouth. But really, if you look under the city administration, the fossil fuels have gone through the roof of the prices of energy. And I've talked about it numerous times. The food prices, all the things that you would enjoy in life have been taken away from you in some ways because everything's gotten so much expensive. So what's the underlying message? The underlying message is it's the green agenda wanting to force you to drive less to get a more efficient vehicle. They want you to get an electric vehicle. They want you to eat less. So there's so many things that are really the underlying message of what does the Democratic Party stand for today. And it seems more than ever to me, and I think so many will believe it as well and see it, is that it's control of a government like never seen. Like I just said, last night watching Kelsey Grammer do the documentary on the Revolutionary War, I was like, wow, if this isn't the British are back and trying to take control of this country. But how do you break out of it? So an animal was in here last night eating away, I can tell that. So I have a new visitor here somewhere. Don't know what it is. Is it the fox? Is it the cat? Don't know. So what are we doing? Well, as you know, a lot of us are fighting. We're speaking up. And Elon Musk, in some ways, and don't get me wrong, Elon Musk isn't George Washington, but in some ways, Elon Musk has totally exposed himself. But the irony to Elon Musk is the guy's a freaking electric car guy. So it's like Adams and others questioning really who was a leader back at the time, who was the narc, who was the spy. And so we live in a day and age where that continues on. Really, who is Elon Musk? Really, who is he? We want to believe that he's for the better of mankind, but at the same time, he's created things that are possibly creating more havoc to mankind than good. to even the point that he is now suing Sam Altman and Microsoft, OpenAI, the former company that he was with a group of founders of OpenAI. He's suing them because he claims that when that company was founded, it was a non-profit organization. So realize it or not, OpenAI is two different companies. One's a non-profit and then one's for profit. And so now Elon Musk feels that's so wrong that they create this artificial intelligence to be profitable because it drives the greed of mankind to do devious things that, so once again, but it's a double-edged sword with Elon Musk, which I've talked about so much on my channel. You're probably sick of hearing it. But Elon Musk right now is fighting. He's fighting in what many, I feel, would probably agree for the freedom of speech, but many would also disagree that you get on his platform, X, and yeah, he portrays that you can say whatever you want, but there'll be others that claim they get shadowed, banned, and they get taken away this and that. Even though on X, it's so bad because you have so many people right now running their mouth all day long fighting for Kamala Harris, that she's the greatest thing in the world. Now Tim Walz, the Illinois senator that was now been picked as the VP for Kamala Harris, and you hear this history of this guy's, who he is. And once again, I don't know this guy personally. I've never followed the guy, but you just start seeing the things in legislation that he supports and does, and you have to just kind of scratch your head. And is he the spy? Is he the narc? I mean, the thing is, the guy signed off on making illegals to have legal licenses, which in turn probably will give them the rights to vote in the state of Illinois. There's a lot of things that he has done that if you're a conservative person feel like they're shameful and wrong, but you'll get the liberal-minded person that will support and fight for him being a great guy, and his true meanings are to make this country to more than what they want. What is that? What is it? What are they fighting for? Sincerely, I'd love to hear on a liberal-minded person reach on my channel. I don't think there's a lot of liberal followers just because I come across, which I am, a conservative individual. And so, but I would love to hear, what are you fighting for? And for me, as a conservative, my guess is you're fighting for the green agenda. You're fighting for the electric vehicles. You feel that that's better for mankind, humanity. You're fighting to get rid of the fossil fuels. You're fighting for illegal people to come here and have an opportunity in our country. But I think a lot of people all on the same page. There isn't a problem someone to come to our country. Just try to go through the proper due process, which that's challenging. Whoever's in charge, I would be a fool to say, oh, because one guy's in charge, that all just goes away. I think it's a different ratio of who shows up versus who doesn't, which I think is an advantage if somebody else is in power. Because right now it's open arms. People are fighting to get to our country because their perception is that when they get here, the government's going to fight for them to be able to live off our government entitlements. So that's why people are fighting to get here. That's the message throughout the world. That Joe Biden, that's going to be Kamala Harris, come to America and we will fight to take care of you. And it's not a big deal. You come here legally, illegally, it's okay. Just come on through. We'll make it work for you. Wow, it's raining. Which that kind of sucks because I got to go do a job this morning. Looks like it's like sprinkling. No, it's raining. Huh. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to play out. So anyways, so I'd love to hear from a liberal-minded person, what is the goal of the fight? And then I know what you're going to hear. We're going to hear about what I just spoke about, but you're going to hear about it's a woman's body. They're fighting for the rights of a woman. What else could you say that a person that's more liberal-minded, because that's our challenge right now. We're in a fight, I feel like, more so than ever, and it's always been a fight between the parties, but do you feel like today, more than ever, we're in a fight of times that just seems to be, in some ways, chaotic and chaos? We're in wars throughout the world, where the illegal immigration has gotten beyond controllable, out of control. The lawless cities have grown, the homelessness, the drugs, but at the same time, you'll have somebody argue all day long that, that one guy's going to replace and fix all that. But at the same time, you're going to say, yeah, but it's the policies and agendas that are pushed upon people that create these problems for the good or bad. But at the same time, it's our political parties that I think many would have to say that is a failure of the congressmen and senators that just seem to sit on their ass and don't seem to get much traction to try to make things more balanced in a country where people pay into tax system that should be fair for all of us instead of being more one-sided one way or the other. And that's the thing. You and I are paying into a tax system to hopefully have legislature that makes sense for the better of our country and not to be supporting what I think in many feel is the other world bodies taking advantage of us. And that's why a lot of the other countries don't like Donald Trump, because he was the guy to turn the lights off at Paris Accord and tell these people, screw this continued constant dumping money to all this supposedly things that are being done, but the monies aren't being used properly and spread properly. And that pissed a lot of people off because Trump turned the lights off on a lot of nations of just handing out free money. But this country, we're just handing out free money like never seen, when in the end, I get it, the ammunitions and the military, they're benefiting a lot from the monies being spent, defense contractors. Once again, I say it all the time. Who are you going to fight for when it comes to be November? Who do you want to fight for? And if you're a defense contractor, if you're a green agenda activist, you're going to fight for Kamala Harris. If you have anything to do with benefiting yourself of making more money under this whole administration's policies, then you're going to fight. You're going to fight for her. Now, if you're on the other side of the equation where you feel like what's going on is foolish and the constant green agenda is foolish, and you feel like we need to rein in and stop these wars, and you feel like we need to rein in and let these illegals know that it isn't so easy just to show up and then expect you to live in hotel rooms and get paid to sit here in our country as you claim asylum. I mean, so I think so many people would be like, right, I think that's the smarter way to go. The energy prices need to come down. The food prices need to come down. The expenses of houses and cars and transportation, it needs to come down. It just befuddles me like you can't believe that all it's ever talked about is when a conservative political person gets in power, all the big businesses will be enriched and make more money than ever. Has anybody looked in the mirror? Big oil and big business has made more money and record profits more than ever in modern times under a sitting administration that is the Democratic Party. But you'll hear them tell you all day long, no, that's not accurate. So who are they fighting for? And then I say it all the time too. It's the big guys that put the donations in that help make the decisions of the agendas. So who's going to get all the money? I mean, so once again, if the big guy knows that the green agenda is going to enrich him, I mean, look at the artificial intelligence, just NVIDIA, and how that company itself has just reaped rewards like never ever seen in modern times. And then the market, as usual, the stock market is always going to go. I mean, the stock market is what? One day it's coming all to an end, but then a few days later it's all blasting back off again. So you have to say to yourself, what is the stock market fighting for? And if you got big money and can play the game, then you probably do okay. But if you're a small guy, you're probably going to get burned. Who doesn't know those stories and all that? And so right now, Harley Davidson, you'd have to say Harley Davidson is fighting for its life. And what I mean by that, I guess the heyday for Harley Davidson really is starting to really come to an end, because when you start seeing advertising of motorcycles being given away just to get rid of them, discounting the hell out of them. Right now, if you buy a Harley Davidson and your credit score is good, no money down, 0 interest, and no payments till 2025. So what does that tell you? That tells you that Harley Davidson has got a challenge. I'm sure that many people here could continue that story with a lot of the manufacturers besides Harley Davidson. And you go over the car side, the doomer gloomers, and yeah, whatever. So what are we fighting for? So at the end of the day, on my channel, I just say to myself, what are we fighting for? What gets you out of bed, and what are you fighting for? I mean, I'd just be curious to hear some other people on my channel reach out. And you just have to say, this country has gone through a lot of wars and a lot of fights But where we are today, in today's society, it seems like the social media machine is fighting for the green agenda in the Democratic Party like never ever seen. Just like never ever seen. So what are they fighting for? So why does Kamala Harris make this country, as they said, where's the Build Back Better conversation? I'm still waiting to hear all about that. Build Back Better, right? You remember that? What's the new slogan for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz? What's going to be the slogan? I'd love to hear somebody throw out a slogan for that team. Go to sleep. It'll be okay. Yeah, it'll all be okay. Maybe that should be a slogan. It'll all be okay. Yeah, right. You ever heard that statement? Yeah, as you are given notice you don't have a job anymore, or your partner tells you it's time to shake hands. Yeah, or the sales guy, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. Yeah, we'll get this deal done for you. And then you go sit down, and they show you how they went 20% interest. They want a ton of money down. And yeah. Or the used car you buy. Hey, it's going to be okay. It'll be okay. Yeah, it'll be all right. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's beautiful, everybody. Yes, it is, right? Yeah, well, it is here in the shop. I will say that. It is quite the collection. All right, that's it. I'm going to shut up. I've talked long enough, and that's all I got. And I just want to, once again, say thank you to all those that support my channel and reach out and interact with me. So kind of you. Appreciate it. Share the channel. And Darren from the Bison, he even reached out yesterday and said, hey, I watch your channel again. Good stuff. So I really appreciate the support of the new subscribers. And I got Don his envelope for his money. I got the monies out to Matthew and to I got Roger, to Matthew and Roger yesterday. So both of you, if you don't see that money by Saturday or Monday, I'll be worried because I mailed it on Tuesday. So I kind of hope you get the money that I put in an envelope with some stickers in between the money so it doesn't look so apparent. And for Don's going to get his money too, but I got creative. I got a little creative for Don on his envelope. You'll see that when he gets it there in his hometown of Vienna, West Virginia, which is so cool because that's where we moved to Virginia, was to Vienna from New Jersey. So Vienna, Virginia. He lives in Vienna, West Virginia. Pretty cool. Then what's it, Vienna? Where's Vienna, over in Italy or something? I don't know. All right, everybody. That's it. As always, I appreciate all the nice comments, all the support, and the Gold Rush sure does look pretty, doesn't it? What a great name. I love how it's called the Gold Rush. Wish it actually was gold. Would I be richer than rich with that? Wow. Whoa. Yeah. All right, everybody. God bless. Have a great day.